So we're quarter way through the Scottish Premiership season, and Steven Gerrard's honeymoon period is pretty much over. We're talking to CJ Novo 992 to find out if the gap is closing between Celtic and Rangers and just how much expectation should there be in Rangers this season. How you doing, CJ?
I'm all right, man. How's yourself?
I'm very good, thank you. At the moment, Hearts are top of the Premiership, aren't they? And Celtic are second, Rangers third. I think you're 4 behind Celtic and 5 behind Hearts at the moment. I mean, the first thing I want to know is, are Hearts the real deal? And do you think the season will actually end up with Celtic and Rangers at the top of the league?
Well, I think when you look at Hearts, I think they were the real deal, but their injuries have just absolutely just massacred their squad. Like, their captain's injured for the rest of the season. The man who stepped in, like Suter, was going to be the next captain. He's been playing so well. He's now injured. There's basically their new striker they signed, who's playing so well. He got injured. Now Naismith's injured, and one of their midfield players are now injured as well. So their team is like, they're literally their first team's just so heavily depleted now.
And you lot took Cole Lafferty off them as well.
That's right, yeah, that was good. That was a good moment.
What is the connection between Cole Lafferty and Rangers? Why was that such an important signing for a player that's clearly at the end of his career, coming towards it?
Well, I think Kyle Lafferty's a big game player. Like, I think you look at it, especially when Hearts beat Celtic earlier in the season, there was only one man that was going to score that goal. It was Kyle Lafferty, and I think that's what Rangers he's lacked. These big games against Celtic, we need a big personality, and you can say what you like about Kyle. He's certainly got that personality, and he's got that aura about him, and he's a winner. You can see it when he talks, and I think that's why we got him for the big games as well.
He loves scoring against Celtic, doesn't he? What improvements have you seen under Gerrard now? We're a quarter way through the season. We spoke to you at the start of the season, and you were excited because a lot of Rangers fans were excited by his appointment. But you've had a quarter of a season to see what he's done. What are the differences between Rangers this season and the Rangers of last?
I think we're a lot more attacking than we were in the previous seasons. I think there is a difference in like the way we play and the way we set up. Ibrox, apart from like obviously the draw recently against Kilmarnock, he's been turned it into an absolute fortress. We're absolutely just smashing teams to bits. That's our biggest thing. Last season we struggled at home. The players that we brought in just couldn't handle the atmosphere playing in front of so many people. They struggled. So Gerrard's kind of flipped that in the head. Now home's absolutely amazing, and then you probably know we went on that away run where we kind of struggled as well.
Yeah, there seems to be a different kind of attitude with Rangers at home. But I mean, the Rangers of old would be turning teams over, home and away. The only games that were really in dispute or up for grabs was that Celtic Old Firm derby. Do you think you're on the way to kind of returning to the days of like McCoist and Haitley and Moles and all the Loudrop era? How far away from you reaching that level again, do you think?
I think those players, I doubt you'll ever see players of that quality, like even like on the other side of things with some of the other bigger players in Scotland. Like, they're going to be very, very hard to replicate. But I think we've got some good players. We've got young players. We've got young Scottish players as well. We've also got a couple of players on loan for Liverpool who's absolutely lighting up league. Ryan Kent's one of the first players that I've seen being able to get the ball and just the whole crowd just stands up willing to actually beat a man. That's been numerous years. So Gerrard's done what he can do in the market, and I think he's brought in some decent players. Getting back to the golden days, I think the SPFL is actually a lot harder than people like give it credit for. I think Aberdeen's doing well. Hearts, we've already kind of spoke about. Kilmarnock's just been unbelievable since Stevie Clark's came. So the league's getting harder, and I think that's kind of shown that. Celtic's slipping up as well. Rangers, and then obviously Hearts recently as well.
Yeah, there was that clip going around the Gerrard in press conference where Gerrard was sitting down with Rossiter.
To hear your manager say, if the players we have right now don't improve and start producing a bit of quality in the final third, my job is to find players that will do it. What effect does that have as a player? Is that a motivational thing to hear?
Well, I think at any big...
I'll answer that. It's a warning. That's for me, that, not him. He's been injured for 2 years. At a big club, you'd expect big players to step up on big occasions and provide big moments. If that doesn't happen at any big club, the manager and the recruitment, they find better players or players who will do that.
And I thought that was brilliant because he didn't allow the media to sort of go the way they wanted to go. He made sure he controlled it and he protected his player. That's the biggest thing. And
do you think it's a good thing for a manager to be saying kind of the current squad, all of them are replaceable? And because from my perspective, I think it is the right thing, because ultimately players are employees of the club. You can fall in love with certain players, but ultimately, certainly from Rangers' perspective and their position currently, they have to improve. They've got to beat Celtic eventually. And they do that by bringing in better players, ultimately. So what did you think about that? What's been the general reaction around Rangers support to that the way he kind of shut that question down?
Well, I think, obviously I don't speak for like all the fans or anything, I just speak for myself as a fan. I absolutely loved it, because we've had managers like Murty and Pedro who's kind of just been happy-go-lucky, I'm just a manager, the players make it. But Gerrard's like, no, if these players aren't making it and doing what they need to do, they will be replaced, because Rangers didn't settle for... Rangers didn't settle for second place.
Who's he talking about?
I think he's talking about, like, basically in the semi-final, I think the main player that he was aiming at was Umar Sadiq. He was this guy who came with a massive reputation, on loan from Roma. He's not played. He's been kind of called out previously by Gerrard in training, saying he wasn't performing up to his standard. On come the semi-final, he gets a massive opportunity, and he looked pretty good. But at the end, he rounded the goalkeeper in the 82nd minute and decided to dive rather than have the ability just to shoot. And that was a massive mental thing, I think. I think he just threw himself down because he didn't want to take it. And I think that's the kind of player that he's talking about. These people coming with big reputations think it's going to be easy. If they're not playing, they'll get replaced. Yeah,
but that's fair enough. But then, obviously, Gerrard brought him in. It was his team. It was his decision, wasn't it? I mean, he's got to take some of the blame there, surely.
Yeah, that's what he said. He says you can point to individual players, because obviously I think he knew where the fans were very disgruntled, but he says, I picked the players, I put them in line, so I take 100% responsibility. Again, something we absolutely love, because other managers, like Graham Murty is famous for saying last year, he's not playing on the park, he's just the man that stands at the sidelines, which just was...
It's not what you want to hear at all. So, you want to be led by a leader.
Yeah, and Gerrard is a leader. You can say what you want about him, but he's always been a leader. He's shown that in management as well.
Would you say that there has been a reduction in the gap between Celtic and Rangers this season?
It's difficult, because if you look at the league, they've both actually lost 2 games. Obviously, Rangers lost to Celtic. That's one of their losses. There's 4 points of difference. They've both got 1 game in hand on Hearts, so they could both obviously close the gap there. Celtic sold a lot. I've seen some people, obviously we do a show as well with Scottish football, and some of the Celtic fans have been not happy with their transfer business. I think Celtic's not really improved necessarily. They've still got a phenomenal team. Obviously that shows 23 goals in the last 5 games shows that. That's a phenomenal record. But Rangers continue to chip away, and I think that's the way it's sort of going. Celtic are here, and Rangers are obviously closing the gap.
Okay, all right. So the latest financials have come out, and Rangers posted a £14.9 million loss. The wages to turnover is around 74%, whereas Celtic's is at 56%, which you can understand given the kind of revenue that Celtic could get from European competition, and the fact that they've been the main side in Scotland for the last 7 or 8 years or so. But are you worried about how Rangers are managing their finances currently? What is the situation? Because there seems to be a long-standing tradition at Rangers that they've been mismanaged as a football club by the owners. What's the situation at the moment?
Well, I think if you look at it, again, I'm not a financial expert, I'm just giving my thoughts on it. When you look at, we went through 2 managers, 2 complete staffs. I think that's added a lot into the staff turnover as well. We signed a lot of boys last season that's just on high wages. It's now on loan, and we're paying the loan, so that's a massive loss. We've basically got 6 or 7 players out on loan. Yeah. It's been completely mismanaged because we signed the wrong players last year. There's a lot of stadium stuff that went in as well, a lot of facilities that's been upgraded, so that went towards some of the losses. It's going to be interesting next season though, because obviously the financial year now that Gerrard's came in, because European football is a massive financial thing, and obviously we're in that now. Last season we weren't. We got knocked out by a team that's never won before, so it was just continued loss after loss. We spent all that money expecting to be in Europe. It never happened, so we're going to take a massive loss. Just on Europe then, how's it been? How's that sort of adventure been this season so far? You got I would say a fortuitous draw out at Villarreal, but a decent point nonetheless. Sometimes going away in Europe is very difficult, and Rangers showed the mettle to make sure that you didn't lose that game, despite being under the cosh somewhat. Spartak Moscow, you're playing as well. So, these are decent sides that have been in amongst European football for a long time. How have you found the European campaign so far? It's been unbelievable. Just touch about what I just said. We lost last year to a team that's never won before. We got knocked out in the first round. We've now broke a British and Scottish record of undefeated games in European football. We're now disappointed we've drawn with Spartak Moscow. That's how far we've come in such a short period of time. For obviously the lows of that, to now being disappointed we've drawn with the Russian champs basically. Yeah. Even on the Villarreal game, I know we were under the cosh quite a lot of the game. We had a chance right in the last minute to score and win that game, which we could have stole. And I think that's the biggest thing that maybe Gerrard's added to the squad, the resiliency when the Heats didn't drop anymore. Because we conceded in the first minute of that game, and I can guarantee if that was any other season in the last few years, that would have been an absolute massacre. That would have been horrendous.
Just going back to the Celtic and Rangers thing for a minute. So I noticed in the 1-0 game that you lost. Again, kind of fortuitously there. It could have been a lot worse. They hit the bar about 8 times, didn't they? But the one thing I noticed about that was the atmosphere or lack thereof it. I mean, it was still loud and Celtic were still singing, but obviously, how much damage do you think it's done of this reduction in away support capacity for the old firm?
Yeah, well, obviously there used to be around about 7,000 visitor fans for both Rangers and Celtic at their stadiums. Now Rangers made the decision to change that to 700. So that's a massive reduce, or around about 800, sorry. I think that was the final total. So they brought it down to that and they put them in the corner rather than the full stand. And obviously Celtic kind of went, right, if you're doing that, we're going to do the exact same thing. And if I'm honest with you, I was missing that spice for the crowd. Like, when Rangers were under the caution, like when they were struggling, maybe if there was more fans there, they could have maybe tried to get behind the boys a bit more. But I've got to give credit to the 700, 800 people that was actually there. They tried to make as much noise as possible, but it's hard to be out sing, especially at your biggest rivals.
Of course.
When they've got so many thousand. It's a difficult job, but they obviously tried their best. But I think it is missing Son, if I'm being 100% honest with you.
I mean, is there any way of resolving this situation? Because from a kind of selfish point of view, I love watching the old firm just for the sake of just the atmosphere and how much sort of hatred there was in the air and how loud it was, and you could feel the tension when watching the game, even through the TV screen, that there was something special going on. And in this one, it just felt weird. You couldn't really hear the Rangers fans, like you say. There's only 800 of them. Is there any chance of this getting overturned? Can they kind of put aside their differences? Will Rangers renege on their decision?
Well, I think it's actually in Rangers' court, believe it or not, because Rangers was obviously the one that made the decision first, and Celtic just simply reacted to it. It was like, okay, you doing that. I think if there was ever make a change, it'd be up to Dave King, the Rangers chairman, if he decides to change it around. But I think it will depend on how it goes at Ibrox, because now the next game that's going to show.
The thing is, if you think about it, it actually does benefit Rangers. This thing, although it's not in Rangers' job to kind of sell the old firm. It is what it is, but it's going to help the Rangers at home when there's very little Celtic presence at 800 down in the corner, isn't it? They're right down south in the corner. You can barely see them. I went to watch Rangers and Aberdeen last Christmas. You guys won 3-1, I think, and it was remarkable how small that allocation of away fans is. And I think going into that old firm with that many Rangers fans around Celtic players, it's going to be much more intimidating than it would be if they had that entire end at the Celtics perspective. Rangers are always going to struggle at Celtic Park. It's always going to be that way, and I don't think you've won there since, is it 2012?
Yes, it's a difficult place to go. Even European, English teams, when they come up, it's a hard place to be.
Yeah, for sure. And so actually, if you're not going to win away from home anyway, then you might as well have that advantage at home. So it'll be interesting to see, but from a selfish perspective, I hope to see a return to the old firm as we know it. Can Rangers win the Premiership this season? Can they win it? Is there any world where you see Rangers and Gerrard lifting that trophy at the end of the year?
I think, as the question, can they win? I think yes, because like I say, was they 5 points behind Hearts just now? They've got a game in hand. They're only 4 points behind Celtic. They have to play Celtic another 3 times this season. So that's what it's going to come down to. You know what I mean? They play each other so many times. It's going to obviously 2 at home and 2 away. So. Can they win it? Yes, I'd say so. And it isn't just me being living in a wee world here. I think if Rangers sort their away form out, that's going to be the massive difference. Because at home they've looked so good. If they can translate that even a little bit to the away performances, that's going to make a massive difference. Will they win it? That's the massive question, eh? And I'm going to say yes. You'll never ever get me saying no. But
sure.
It's definitely going to be tough, especially the way Celtic's over their wee blip in form. 23 goals in 5 games. That's good.
Pretty mad, isn't it? All right, thank you very much, CJ, for joining us. You can subscribe at CJ Novo 92 on YouTube. The link will be in the description below, and he's also got a Twitter account as well by the same name. Is that right?
Yeah, 992. Very close.
992. Sorry, I keep doing that. Thanks again for watching Ball Street. We'll be here every day with videos as ever. Consider subscribing, hit the like button, and we'll see you soon.